There we go. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you have your cup of coffee available. And I hope, like I got a new book and a new set of pens every beginning of the year. And it always time to really think about what are we going to do? I mean, how do we reflect, those type of things. And sometimes we think, oh, but it's just a new year. We know what we are doing. But it's important to take a few minutes and really sit down and say, what are we planning for this year? And when I was preparing for this slide this morning, what I realized is there's a few things from 2024 that I really just want to share, and I really want us to intentionally focus on this year. The first one will be the pressures by a landlord. And that's one thing that's really been popping up a lot. And I do think it's a bit of a contentious topic because, on the one hand, it's your client and you should do absolutely everything to please them. But on the other hand, there has to be a balance. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on tenant defaults. We all know it's January and February. Um, Tenant defaults, just to say quickly, what is the strategy that's being followed now? A few things that I see that is picked up, and just want to share that. And then, in terms of the latest article by PayProp, they actually said that one of the biggest concerns by rental agencies are competition. There's so many agencies out there and competing against each other for the work. That is one of the things that is a worry or concern for them for the year of 2025. So I had a few thoughts on that, and I thought I will share that with you. Um, just purely but what I can see and observe. And being a landlord myself, I think it's always good to prepare. Now, let's jump right into it. Pressures by the landlords. And I think this is one thing I often have to remind rental property practitioners, rental agents, is that you are the professional. You are the one that is that dealing with the work. You know what's going on. And I know it sounds obvious if you say it that way, but very often I see agents doing so much. I don't want to say grovel, but because they are so worried they will lose the work, they can't have a conversation with the landlord to say, landlord, listen, it's not okay to phone me at 10 o'clock at night. Or it's unreasonable to expect that I should reply to your WhatsApp that you sent to me at 10 o'clock at night. To put those boundaries. I think that is something that one has to have a balance. And when you speak to your landlord again, when you sign up the mandate, to manage expectations, because otherwise people work on assumptions and they assume they can just do everything. I mean, there's a big difference between the geezers first and it's an emergency and listen, did I get paid? That question can wait until the morning. You don't have to ask that question late at night. But one of the things that I've seen throughout last year is landlords being very agitated and they are very upset and aggressive, but it could have been prevented with clear communication. I think often what happens is agents are trying to protect or keep a landlord so away from the whole process that they don't convey the whole thing. So they deal with a lot of things, but instead of just giving feedback, remember there's a difference between giving feedback and wanting actual involvement from your landlord. If the tenant reported a block in the drain and you sorted it out, send your landlord that email and say, listen, tenant reported the drain was blocked. Listen, it was something small. We had a look. We sorted it out. You don't have to have a concern about it. Or listen, there's mold. We know there's a problem. You won't be able to fix it, but we need to just budget for it. Often, when the fights become between the tenants and the agent escalate sometimes, and then the landlord doesn't even know about it because you were so intending to try and protect the landlord that you didn't really consider and consult with him on everything. So have a balance. Speak to your landlord. There's a difference between asking your landlord for everything. Um, That's not what I'm saying. It's almost, and I always take it back to being an attorney. Remember, the attorney as an agent, we are the professionals. You have the knowledge, and you have to advise and guide your landlord, but you can't make the decision for them. So to say to them, listen, we need to fix this. Can you fix it now? No. Okay, now what is the plan? Do we need to put in a plan in place? Do we keep back? Do we save up for 3 months and then to attend to it? Or how do we deal with it? That's a better way than leaving things to escalate and then there's a big fight. One thing I think we often forget is rentals are something we do every day, and it's high speed and it's lots of pressure. And we know what is the normal flow. And a lot of landlords think they know, but they don't. So deal with them, give them every time you deal with a new landlord, every time when you do a renewal, check in that they know what they are getting into, what to expect. And just to check in again to say, remember, I'm always available during office hours. If I'm not available during office hours, my colleague will be available. After hours is only for extreme urgency. I mean, if the house is busy burning down or what are those type of things. That is the just to check in with them. And then I think the second thing also to keep in mind is when you give news or you convey something and a landlord is upset, quickly just think how would you have reacted? If you conveyed the message like you did and you had to receive it, how do you feel with it? And are you surprised? Sometimes we should allow them to be upset. And it's okay to say, I agree. I would also be upset about the circumstances. So let's acknowledge that moment and say, yes, this isn't right. The tenant was supposed to pay on the beginning of the month. They haven't paid. They're not going to pay the full rent this month. This is the reason. I agree with you. But there's only limits. Only so much that one can do. And then the last thing is, one thing that we have to remember is you can choose who you work with. Now, I know it's hard work to secure a landlord, but you have to take stock sometimes and determine whether a landlord is really worthwhile, the effort and the time being put in compared to the income generated. I often see, and it sometimes feel that the people that pay that almost pay nothing. That's the landlord that negotiated you down to 2% for commission a month. And then it's they're the ones that's phoning you 20 times a day. Where a landlord that pays his normal 10 or 8%, 10, 12% commission, and you almost never hear from him. For that 2%, sometimes it's not worthwhile because the time spent on them, you could have rather spent to get 10 good other landlords, or you could have given better service to your other landlords. So I think that are one of the amazing, amazing things that one has to keep in mind. Of course, these webinars is if there's something that you want to share, if there's any questions or any suggestions. In the past, what we've seen is it's always nice to say, listen, this is something that I've seen and it works. Please share it in the chat. There's just one thing I still want to say on the landlords. A landlord cannot force you to market the property. Especially I've seen if things gone wrong and you help them to get a tenant out and they go, well, the last one was a mess. Now you have to find me a new tenant. No, you can say to them, unfortunately, I'm not going to accept the mandate. I'm not going to be able to do the work because it's just going to be a problem throughout. I know people always threaten. They threaten agents with the PPRA. They threaten them with Facebook and social media. And I think sometimes, yes, weigh up the differences, but sometimes you have to take the risk and go and say, listen, we've done absolutely nothing wrong. The reason I'm not taking the mandate is clearly because we do not have a good working relationship. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. They're never going to be happy. So that's just something on the landlords, pressures on the landlords. Now, the next thing, of course, is your tenant defaults. Oh, I know a lot of people are already stressed out. I hope everybody had a good holiday and you sort of had an opportunity to go and relax, and people aren't that stressed out. But people are already, especially if they miss their rental payment in December and they promised to pay in January, and guess what? Up until now, they haven't made a payment. Okay, so from Expeller side, we prefer not to cancel in December. The reason being is if you cancel, we can't really demand payment of rent. It goes over to damages. And then it also take a bit of our negotiation power out, especially because we can't immediately proceed with an eviction. Most of the attorneys has been back since Monday, so all the evictions and everything is going out at this stage. So where we can, we are cancelling everything now, and we are processing. There would not have been a date difference between if we issued in December and issued now. In Cape Town, I got a horrible shock. Joburg has been on case lines in the High Court. It's a system where you upload everything on the cloud and you don't have to go into the court. Cape Town, of course, now, they chilled. They started the case lines only now. But because it's new and there's a lot of still manual matters, they're only taking 4 matters per day. And usually in the past, we would get a court date for our ex parte application within 6 weeks. The attorney phoned us and said, oh my goodness, we got your matter back, and they gave me a date for August. And I said, no, please withdraw. We'd rather go to the magistrate's court because we can't wait 8 months for an ex parte date. It means our eviction is only going to be heard next year. So Cape Town High Court, that was an exciting thing for case lines, but that most probably will be sorted out by March. And we're starting to get the dates. So we're putting the pressure throughout. We will still have communications. We are seeing tenants are, they are delaying. They are pressing it for more time. But from Expeller side is, yes, we will definitely always try and get them to vacate voluntarily, because if we can prevent a legal eviction through the legal process, just to clarify, through the legal process, because we know courts take time, we will do so. If we can't, we will proceed. We are still very, very glad to say that we have a 98% success rate of tenants paying or voluntarily vacate. We are making sure we communicate clearly with tenants. I want to say this as well to we get a lot of agents say, go, what should we do in the beginning? It's the first time they default or so forth. Just get clear commitments. People, it's a harsh reality. I've seen in the news, there's quite a few of companies that's doing big layoffs. So this is something that's going to have a severe impact on the rentals. Have the discussion with them. Don't focus. If somebody phones you and say, listen, I've lost my job, can I cancel? Don't reply immediately and say, yeah, if you cancel now, you're going to be liable for a cancellation penalty. Because the thing that's going to happen is, what we often see is then the people don't vacate. And the problem is, then it's a bigger problem to get them out, because the longer they're in the unit without paying, the more difficult it becomes for them to move. So some agents does this perfectly. If a tenant phones you and says, listen, our financial situation has changed, we are struggling financially, we won't be able to pay this month, immediately have the conversation, because you have the relationship, and say, listen, so how are we going to deal with this in the future? Because if you cannot afford the full rent, I would rather assist you to find a rental that's within your budget. Let's rather help you to vacate, because the moment you're going to start defaulting, we're going to cancel, and if we need, we can evict. But you're going to struggle to find a new place, because no agent on here will take a tenant where they didn't pay their rent with the previous agent. I mean, that is most now, you're going to worry immediately. So have the clear conversations. Don't jump immediately to, but you have to pay, or cancellation penalty. Focus. That's a bit of a shift that I just want to share. And also then, if you have that conversation, please inform us if it's an Expeller client, or say to them, listen, this is a tenant, I hear what you are saying to me. Can I, this is an Expeller matter. I'm not sure how to deal with this. They will then contact you. Let us have the conversations with them to make sure the landlord isn't prejudiced and the flow works great. So please use us. You don't have to do everything alone. If the tenant phones there, we are there to help. We are from Expeller side is one of the things that we're really going to focus on this year is to manage the reoccurring breaches. We see the tenants are breaching, they're remedying, they're breaching, they're remedying. And we have really sat down and see how we can address those type of things to see if we can do anything to prevent. Listen, some tenants are just super clever. They just know how to play the system. I mean, we are busy with an eviction, and I said to the owner, this is one of the biggest headaches. I mean, Expeller has got, in average, we get our order within 3 to 4 months. The tenant is maybe awarded a month. Cape Town, it's happened before that they've been given 2 months. But some tenants just know how to play the system, and they are becoming more and more. So, and that has an impact on future things. So, also that caveat, when you're busy in the beginning with a tenant, that gut feeling says, maybe you shouldn't take this tenant, please listen to your gut feeling. There's a reason why it's there. Really just proceed. If the paperwork look good and you have no one else, then proceed with it. But if you have a funny feeling, trust your gut feeling. So that's with regards to tenants this year. We have to wait and see. I'm quite interested to see. I see PayProperty, they are very optimistic. Rentals have grown. The market is looking good. The rent, there's a various factors. I don't know if sales are going to pick up. But I'd still think, especially the young people prefer leasing properties because it gives them flexibility and there's a lot of things they don't have to worry about. So that's just with regards to tenant defaults. Now, the thing of competition. Expeller works with a lot of agents nationwide, and we have absolutely the privilege of seeing how different agencies work, what makes them different, and all of those type of things. But the one thing I think sometimes we have to sit down and rethink how you become competitive, because most people think they are competitive on a commission basis. And as a landlord myself, I can tell you that what you sometimes think impress a person is not what impresses them. I think the first step is offer additional value. So I think the agents that's on here, the fact that you can go there, you've got Expeller in your mandate, that actually makes you different to some of the other agencies. I have more than one agency saying, Elise, the fact that I'm offering Expeller to my owners is making me different to the agent down the road. That also helps you that you don't have to negotiate on your commission, because it says, well, firstly, I can offer you this. This is additional value. I knew about this. I don't know if the other agents even know about this. It makes you look like a more experienced. You are the professional and you know what's going on. If you know what you're going on and you can build a relationship and you can win the landlord's trust, I promise you, they will not mind paying you the commission as long as it makes financial sense. I know a bulk of the market, people are leasing out their properties, not because if it's an investment, because they have to. I know last year was a very bad market for selling, and lots of people were forced to lease out their properties. But the thing is, in some areas, it's not always ideal, but they need you more than ever. So focus on the value that you can offer them. You're saving them time. You know the law. You know the Rental Housing Act. You know when to renew. You know how to do the renewal process. Those are the type of things that you know, and that's what they are paying you for. They have to keep that in mind. Also, I don't know how many of you actually offer different values. Saying I can do only the financial management, the invoicing, the collecting of the rent, keeping the deposit and paying out, but I'm not going to deal with your maintenance. Or do I do the full management? Different options. Again, out of my own experience, you go, okay, now I'll only need this. And they go, well, for this and this, it actually, I can give you this value. You go, for the actual couple of extra rand, makes sense that you take all of this off my hands. And that's quite helpful and valuable. Client experience, people communication. Um, Agents should not become like attorneys. Nee? What is the biggest complaint with attorneys? I can never get a hold of them. They are so busy. They must be good because we can't get hold of them. I think that's one thing that we should start changing. To say, listen, I am available. If I'm not available, X, Y, and Z is available to assist you. So if I personally can't help you, somebody else will be there to help you. And your matter is not going to be on hold or until we get to you. That's something that should change. Most of you are working in teams. I cannot deal with everything. That's why I always say, if you can't get hold of me, speak to my team because they are as passionate about everything we do here as I am. So you are in such good hands. Don't say wait for me. And when I get to, I will check in. They will not take offense. They actually will feel that you are more organized than saying, okay, well, everything comes to this person and this person is so busy, they're never getting to everything. They don't have capacity for me. And you can lose a client because you are too busy. So focus on client experience. Is it nice? Is it friendly? That whole process. It's also the beginning of the year. Go look at your promotional material. What are you giving your landlord? So yes, I'm also guilty. Um, you guys give us a lot of paperwork to read and so forth. Pictures, a short leaflet. Landlord, this is what you can expect. Something that they can have on hand. Yes, the mandate is there. Everything is set out. And you don't always have time. They don't always have time to read everything or go through everything. But just that short WhatsApp say, reminder, remember you can contact us during office hours, or please remember to send us your utility account, or just that weird WhatsApps is very nice. It reminds them that you think of them without needing to bug them, and you still keep that connection. What other promotional material there is, because otherwise they say you only hear from your agent if there's problems or if they want money. You don't want that type of relationship with your landlords. So that's the first thing. I want you to rethink on the outside as to how you present, how you advertise, how you place yourself. That makes a big difference. It does become, you want to rely on that person. That you become a part of that landlord's network, and you're going to become their go-to. That's what you want. Then in-house, with the rental market forever, I know there's always change. Rental agents are coming in, they're moving from agency to agency. I think for the new agents online, please go and educate. Don't just focus on starting to run to try and sell your services if you don't know. Make sure you know what you are offering and what is the level you are offering it at. Your office has a standard. Live up to that standard. Make sure you know what you represent. I think that is super important. People are so quickly to just go get the deal, run with it, but they don't know everything. There's nothing worse if your landlord asks you a question, you can't answer it. Creates the impression that you don't know what you're doing. And to go, well, I'm still learning, it means that you didn't prepare before going out. Agents, new agents, old agents, everybody know your documents. Please go have a look at your mandates again, your lease agreements. Please make sure you complete it correctly. Don't take shortcuts. I think one of the things that we really want to be a motto for this year is don't get so rushed that everything is rushed, if that makes sense. Because the moment we start rushing on everything, that's when mistakes creep in. take the time, manage your book properly. You manage your time properly to know that, listen, these are the documents. Is it completed correctly? If you struggle with the hand completing, there's apps out there that can make sure. I've seen that if you on an app, you have to complete things and you haven't completed correctly, it doesn't allow you to submit. It takes you back the whole time. Now, rather let an app take a land or two to make sure they initial every page, instead of you going, okay, I've completed, and you email, you get it back, you email back and say you forgot to sign page 3, now they have to re-sign everything. Think about all of those things. And then the new agents, the Rental Housing Act. Please go have a look at it. Especially, it's not a long act. Go have a look at your sections that deals with the deposits, maintenance, inspections. You need to know these things so that you can advise and answer questions by your landlord. If you don't know the Rental Housing Act, I'm not saying that you need to know it like an attorney. You're not going to have to give a legal opinion, but at least you must be able to read it and say, listen, in terms of the act, when are you going to get your deposit? Well, if we did the inspection together, you can get it within 7 days or 14 days. What is wear and tear? All those type of small things. You need to at least have that information. So go have a look at it. Then lastly, what is the market trends? See what everybody is doing out there. No, don't go. I should have looked for that one advert where they said there are two people next to each other selling eggs. And they were selling, the person A was selling the eggs at 100 Rand. B comes and he sells it at 90 Rand. A sees it, he sells it at 80 Rand. Now B is looking, so okay, now you'll sell it at 70 Rand. A goes and says, well, to get the work because we're next to each other, I will sell mine for 60 Rand. B goes and says, well, now I'm tired of this. I will just sell my eggs at 30 Rand. A looks at B and says, well, I'm going to buy all your eggs and then I will sell it at 100 Rand again. So think about a bit out of the box. See what you're offering. Is there other ways to approach it? Just other ways to present it. See what the people are concerned about. Start with that. And that was my very short intro for this year. Be prepared. Please send out those letter of demand if it hasn't been sent out as yet. Make sure that it's 20 days, even though the landlord's jumping up and down, that they want the money tomorrow. You can't take a shortcut with law. Also, please remember, even if you want them out tomorrow, we cannot go and kick them out. So if the legislation made it that easy, we would have done it, I promise you. But there's a process to be followed. So don't tell the landlord, yes, I will try and get them out tomorrow, if you know that this tenant is not going to budge. So manage that expectations. If you don't know how, please pass Xpelo clients to us. We don't want to get into the action too late. We are there to help. We are there to support. Our team is growing. Please speak to us. Let us know how we can help and help you grow your business this year. I want to say thank you to each and everyone that took the time this morning to just connect and refresh. We are excited to be of service this year. We will be sharing some newsletters, some information. Our next webinar is on the 19th of February. If you're not on our mailing list yet, we are adding you this morning and we will share the invites again. We will also share information of if we have any in-person events, if we host any of those. I want to say thank you to each and everyone for the support, and we look forward to service for next year. Have an absolute awesome Wednesday. Be safe, and let's take the world by storm. Thank you. Bye-bye.